waited for this night. He's waited for me. I've waited for him. Get out of the room! Get inside! You don't believe in the boogeyman? He's here! Michael! You should.
Hey guys, so I checked out Halloween 2018 last night at the theatre, and having Laurie Strode back on screen, brought to us by the wonderful Jamie Lee Curtis, was a real blessing for this movie. Jamie Lee Curtis is so far removed from Halloween right now, she doesn't need to make any Halloween movies, so for her to come back to this role because of the script, because of the direction, what Danny McBride and David Gordon Green and Jeff Fradley wrote was amazing. It really enticed her to come back to give Laurie Strode the send-off that she really deserved. And making this a true sequel to that original film, every other film in the franchise from 2 to 8 no longer counts. So having as a true sequel to that original John Carpenter classic was a stroke of genius. They had a clean slate. They could start again fresh and bring us something new to the table. Gone is the long legacy of Michael Myers and his crazy kills. The way that he started to be portrayed on screen as an unstoppable monster, the whole Curse of Thorn thing, all gone, thank God. So what it is now is Michael Myers has been incarcerated for 40 years after the murders of that first film. He has managed to escape again on Halloween night 40 years later, and he's back. And it really was quite refreshing to have Michael Myers on screen and be scary again. It was amazing. I had a really, really good time. Here's a quick reaction to what I thought as soon as I come out of the theatre. So I just came out of Halloween, the new one with Laurie Strode facing off with Michael Myers once again. Initial reaction, bloody awesome. Loved it. More please. So yeah, brief, I know, but initial reactions was, yeah, I really love what they did with this film. It really was quite, or a drama almost. Having Danny McBride, a known comedian, writing this thing, he really did kind of hold back a lot. There was no jokes in this movie until the horror started to kick in a fair bit. So the build-up to Michael Myers escaping from incarceration was a pretty serious take. Laurie Strode is a broken woman. That attack in that first film left her completely unable to cope with life and society. She's had 2 failed marriages. She's had her kid, Karen, taken away from her at an earlier age. She's living on the fringes of society. She is Sarah Connor, essentially. She's been preparing and planning years and years and years for Michael Myers' eventual release. And she's not okay. She's traumatized. And the way Jamie Lee Curtis portrays her in this film is really beautiful. She's not a typical heroic superwoman who is taking on a bad guy. She is a vulnerable person who is at her wit's end, and she's been prepared, and it's driven a wedge in her family. Her daughter cannot stand the way that she was brought up and wants nothing to do with her until she gets the help that she needs. So we don't really know much about Karen's father in this one at all. It's not really mentioned. And Karen's own daughter, Allison, played by Andy Matichak. Also a really nice performance. I had really a kind of a Kirsten Dunst vibe from this young actress, just the look and feel. I could be completely wrong. So I'm not going to go into spoiler territory in this part of the review. I'm going to just basics. So the movie pretty much opens with a couple podcasters who have gone to the facility where Michael Myers has been kept for the past 40 years. And that is Aaron Corey, played by Jefferson Hall, and Dana Haynes, played by Rhiannon Rees. Pretty much like the Serial podcast, they're digging into an old crime and they want to go into it with a new angle, much like Making a Murderer. And they're going to try and get some interaction with Michael Myers, who's now being supervised by Dr. Sartain, played by Haluk Billinger. And to be honest, the whole doctor angle in this particular movie was a little bit forced. He's basically the new Dr. Loomis. It's even stated in the movie, Laurie actually calls him the new Dr. Loomis. So they go to speak to Michael Myers and try to provoke a reaction. We've seen the trailers, they hold the mask out to him and they want him to say something, but nothing happens. It does lead into the opening credits, and with this one we do have the return of the pumpkin, but it's basically saying that, yeah, we know the film series has been run into a terrible, terrible place, and the pumpkin on screen is crumpled and decayed, and it starts becoming a full whole pumpkin again as the camera's panning in, and it's Halloween and all the credits start coming up over that beautiful score. So it's a nice callback to the first film. So it's just saying, hey, yeah, Halloween is back. We know we've gone down a really bad path, but it's back and you're gonna love it. So I really love the callback to those titles. And then we pretty much get into the story. So yeah, it's a full slow burn. There's a lot of drama built up before Michael Myers actually escapes. The photography is amazing, and what the director, David Gordon Green, has given us here is a beautifully realized film. He does hold back a lot. There are some kills in this that you only see the carnage afterwards. You don't actually see Michael Myers doing the kill at the time. And having said that, there are some scenes where you see Michael in all his brutal glory taking down some folks. So he is very nuanced in his direction. He gets a really amazing performance out of Jamie Lee Curtis. And Judy Greer as Karen is great too. She has a great crowd-pleasing moment later on in the film. And newcomer Andy Matichak as the granddaughter is really good in the role too. We do have a lot of supporting cast. Will Patton from Falling Skies is the sheriff. I love this guy. I loved having this actor on screen. He played a great role. His character was apparently in the first film. Obviously, Will Patton wasn't in that movie, but he's playing a character from that first movie. He's really good in the role too. The Doctor, Dr. Sertain, for me, he was the kind of... A lot of people do not like the Doctor character in this film. To me, it didn't bug me as much, although it did kind of take me out of the film a little bit. And I didn't like the character of that character. But having said that, the arc that he had, he did play a pretty crucial role, which I'll go to in the spoiler section in a moment. Yeah, we got our supporting cast. We got the boyfriend, Dylan Arnold playing Cameron, a bit of a jerk. We have got Miles Robbins playing Dave, Drew Scheid playing Oscar, all cannon fodder. Virginia Garner playing Vicky. She had a really good scene with a young actor by the name of Jibril Nanatambu playing Julian. It's the babysitting scene in the movie where she's looking after this young kid, and the repertoire between these two characters is really, really cool. Julian was a favorite character of mine in the movie. This is when the comedy kicks in a bit. Michael's on the rampage by now, and he was such a smart-mouthed little kid. When Michael does appear and, tries to kill him, and the babysitter, he's the only one that says, this, I'm out of here, and it's hilarious. So he was a really, really good character. The photography was suitably moody. There were some great scenes that were just so atmospheric and dark, and Michael Myers was actually scary again. So the last time we saw Michael Myers was in the Rob Zombie films Halloween and Halloween 2. Big hulking guy. In this one, yeah, he's more normal sized. He's a 61-year-old man now, but he can still kill folk with the best of them. He is a brutal Michael Myers in this film, and his kills are pretty damn good. It was suitably chilly. I had some moments in this film where I was freaked out a little bit. I don't get scared by horror movies anymore, but there were some scenes in this movie where I was really feeling the suspense. The bus breakout scene in particular, really creepy. Though I think I like the dynamic between Laurie Strode and her daughter, how they were at loggerheads through the entire movie until when Michael is coming after them and Judy Greer, Karen, realizes that her mother has been right this whole time. It was a good switch. I really, really enjoyed it. This was a return to form for me, for Michael Myers. It was really cool seeing him on screen again. We have had a lot of movies where he has, pretty much from H2O on, he's not really been the true Michael Myers as far as I'm concerned. Resurrection was just pitiful. Rob Zombie's take on Halloween, though I do enjoy it, wasn't really Michael Myers. And then Halloween 2, the follow-up to Rob Zombie's film, which I enjoyed, was just weird. So yeah, Halloween and Halloween 2, the original films, I really, really enjoy. So this is my quick wrap-up on Halloween spoiler-free section. Spoilers coming up in a moment. But giving this one a rating out of 10, I'm going to give it a solid 8 because I enjoyed the hell out of it, and I cannot wait to check it out again. Looking forward to owning this one on 4K, and I'll give another review when that comes out. Okay, so this is the spoiler section. So I'm not going to go too crazy, but I just want to be able to talk a little bit more freely about the movies and about the kills and what I think of the psychological makeup of this film and the direction that David Gordon Green and Danny McBride were going in. So like I said, the laughs weren't really in the first half of the movie until the second part through the character of Julian. So we have The two podcasters, Aaron and Dana, go to talk to Dr. Sartain about getting Michael for some kind of an interview, and Aaron's holding the mask up at Michael Myers. Michael Myers is not responsive, and Aaron is just say something, just trying to provoke a response out of Michael Myers. And then all the other inmates around this amazingly shot scene where the ground is like black and white checkerboard, and they're all freaking out, and Michael Myers is just standing there. We only get a glimpse of his face, but we do see that he's an older man, and it looked like one of his eyes was f***ed up. So we know he did get shot in the head in that first movie, or somewhere in the face vicinity by a Loomis. So he's obviously scarred up. One of the things I did question is, at the end of Halloween, that first movie, he's shot by Loomis, he falls off the balcony onto the grass, Loomis peers over the edge, he's gone. So the implication from this movie's storytelling point of view is that he was eventually captured. Loomis was about to kill Michael Myers, and then Will Patton's character, Sheriff Hawkins, Officer Hawkins, stops him, so he was responsible for Loomis not killing Myers. So pretty much at the end of the day, this was all your fault, Will Patton. So Dr. Sartain is this creepy doctor, Loomis type, but yeah, I really feel he was not fit for this movie. I don't know if it was miscasting or it's just an odd fit. So the way this movie kind of played for me, Dr. Sartain actually instrumented Michael Myers' escape on the bus. Because Michael Myers, all the inmates are shackled, and for Michael Myers to get loose and attack the drivers of the bus and kill the cops and get away, there's only one way that could have happened, is if Dr. Sartain, who was a psychologist who had been with Michael Myers for so long, and he actually becomes curious about what it's like to kill somebody. He wanted to see Michael Myers in the wild. He's only ever known Michael Myers shackled and chained up, incarcerated. So his plan, from what I gather, is that he worked with Michael Myers, who is described as being very aware. He can speak, he just chooses not to, but he's very aware of his situation. So from that, I got the implication that Michael Myers is highly intelligent and watching everything. And he's worked with Dr. Sartain in some capacity, or maybe not, but Sartain has orchestrated this escape for Michael Myers on this circumstantial night, this Halloween night once again. So Sartain was trying to recreate that fateful night from 1978 by having Michael Myers escape once again on Halloween night and direct him off to Haddonfield. The kills in this are good. A lot of them are off screen. So the scares really do start for me is the moment that the father and son are driving along the highway and they're having the discussion about the son who'd rather be off doing his dance class than hunting with his father, and they come across the bus escape scene. The bus has crashed and there's inmates walking all over the road, and the father says, I'm going to get out of the car and investigate this, and the kid's like, man, don't do that. And everyone in the audience was just like, no. So the father gets out and investigates. Doesn't come back, and then the kid gets out of the car and he's got his shotgun and he's walking around through this really beautifully lit scene. It's kind of dark and foggy. There's headlights illuminating all the inmates, and the bus is in a ditch and there's lights flashing, and the kid goes to the bus to see what's happening. And Dr. Sartain's in the bus and he pops out from behind the chair saying, don't shoot, and the kid promptly shoots him. The kid's like, F this, and runs back to the car. A really good performance by this young kid, by the way. And it was such a really moody, atmospheric moment. I was actually really on edge waiting for Michael Myers to turn up at this point. The kid gets back into the car intending to drive away, and this is where I kind of thought, they're not going to go there, are they? This kid was like 12 years old, right? And Michael Myers is in the back seat, grabs his kid's head, slams it into the window a couple of times and cracks his neck. Oh man, I was just like, wow, that was really unsettling for me. And it kind of just informed me that the movie was willing to go places, some dark places that previous Halloween movies possibly would not have gone to. So then Michael Myers heads back to Haddonfield, and there's a beautiful tracking shot where it's Halloween night. In that original film, Halloween was really sparse. Like, there wasn't a lot of extras. It was really kind of empty, and it kind of like left Laurie Strode feeling really isolated and alone through all these deserted streets. In this film, we've got kids everywhere. There's people, there's parties, there's music, there's Halloween. We've got people everywhere. And Michael Myers, in his mask and his jumpsuit, is just wandering through, not being bothered by anyone. Before that, we did see him get his mask, which I thought was a really, really good scene. He tracks down the two podcasters who are stopped at a service station to get some fuel, and Dana, she goes into the bathroom, and next thing we know, Michael Myers is stalking in there with this really tense scene. Aaron is kind of like trying to find her, and he comes across dead bodies. One guy's had his jumpsuit stripped from him, and another guy's just had all his teeth pulled out of his jaw, and Michael Myers is using those teeth to drop over the stall into Dana to terrify her. And we've seen all this stuff in the trailer. And then Aaron turns up and he recognizes Michael, and Michael ends up just beating this guy to a pulp, smashing his head into the wall in the mirror, then using his head to pound down the door to get to Dana. And once again, he's picking her up and we get the old neck snap. So Michael isn't too adverse to just killing people with his bare hand in this movie, just bashing heads and squeezing necks. And then he goes out to the car, and there's that scene where he's putting on the mask and just closing the car boot, and it's a beautiful scene. Unlike in the Friday the 13th remake, where Jason just kind of got his mask back just randomly from some drug seller in a barn, these masks are iconic, and I feel like Halloween did the mask reappropriation really well. Putting that mask back on, grubby and dirty, it's aged, it's old, was a beautiful scene. And then we have him turn up to Halloween night, and we have this beautiful scene once again we've seen in the trailers, and he stalks this woman and bashes her to death with a hammer. Then he's just kind of randomly appearing in people's houses as he's walking through the streets on Halloween night, just thinking, what a smorgasbord, I can just take down anyone I want. The movie's not without its troubles. It's like, what a coincidence that he happens to be back in a neighborhood where he's going to bump into the Strodes again. No longer related. The brother-sister angle's now gone, so it's not like he's tracking down Laurie Strode purposely. So the coincidences are there. I've heard that this movie was 2 hours, 15 minutes long. They have trimmed it down to like an hour and a half. You do feel that there are some story elements that have been removed. A lot of character stuff, more Laurie Strode stuff. I would have really liked some more of her stuff in this movie as well. But I'm hoping that the Blu-ray cut when it comes out is longer and more and more fleshed out. But having said that, this is still a really good film. The way the kills are presented, like I said, a lot are off screen, but we do get some really good brutal kills in this film as well. Now, the Dr. Sartain character is the one that I didn't really like too much. There's a scene where they're trying to track down Allison. She's got lost from her mother and from her grandmother at the school dance. She's had a fight with a boyfriend. He destroys her phone conveniently. When you're in a horror movie these days, having a mobile phone, you just cut off if that's taken away from you. So Dr. Sartain picks her up with Officer Hawkins, and they're trying to take her back to her mum. And Michael Myers appears in the middle of the street, and Officer Hawkins runs Michael Myers down. And then Officer Hawkins and Dr. Sartain get out to investigate Michael's immobile body, and Sartain suddenly kills Officer Hawkins, Will Patton, in the neck with a sharp pen, which he obviously had on the bus. Sartain then takes the mask off Michael Myers and puts it on and attacks Allison in the police car. And I was thinking, please don't go there, because at this point I thought, shit, Michael Myers is actually dead. Sartain's now going to take over the role of Michael Myers. Thankfully, no. Sartain puts the unconscious body of Michael Myers back into the car and locks her in the back of the paddy wagon with Allison, and that's really actually a pretty tense moment. He takes the mask off and throws it between Allison and Michael. Michael's unconscious and Allison's naturally freaking out, and you see the mask in between them, and Sartain and Allison having a back and forth. Sartain really wants to hear anything out of Michael Myers, and Allison tricks Dr. Sartain by saying, well, Michael spoke to me, and like, pull over and I'll tell you. So Sartain pulls over, and then we see suddenly that the mask is missing from the seat. And Allison looks, Michael's got the mask on looking at her. And then thankfully, he decides to take out Dr. Sartain. He kind of bursts through the back seat, bashes him pretty ferociously, drags him out. Allison hightails it out of there, and there's a pretty gory scene where Michael Myers just stomps Sartain right on the head, full head smash. So for the gorehounds out there, yeah, nice gory scene. And then we have a really nice ending, which really came around awful quick for me. I wanted the movie to keep going. But the whole movie, Laurie Strode has been fortifying her house. She's got like a kitchen bench where you push a button and that opens, and she's got like an escape room under the house. So it turns out this whole time where you're thinking it's a safe room where they're going to be going to escape, it's actually a trap. Her whole intention was to get Michael Myers down in this escape room. There's bars that shoot out across the top of the stairwell, so Michael Myers is trapped, and then she promptly burns the house down. So it does kind of end open-ended as well. So there's an opportunity for a sequel. We don't know if Michael Myers did burn alive in this film. He could have got out, but it kind of ends after a pretty ferocious battle between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers, which is really, really cool. It was done really, really well. The confrontation between Laurie Strode, who has been pent up for 40 years, just ready to take on Michael Myers, was palpable, and the fight scene between the two of them in the house was really cool. Every time Laurie Strode went to a new room, she'd push a button and there'd be like a big door slammed shut behind her. So she was kind of cordoning off the house as she went through. So she had customized his house to be a trap the whole time. And that was the twist. There was a scene where Laurie Strode is up in the house stalking Michael Myers, and Judy Greer, Karen, is downstairs, and Allison turns up, and they're downstairs trying to be safe. And Michael Myers is upstairs trying to get in, and he's got this bench, and he literally throws the whole bench. He pulls it apart and throws it across the kitchen. Judy Greer's character, she has a real massive panic attack, and Michael Myers suddenly appears in view at the top of the stairwell looking down at her, and she switches, blasts him in the head. Gotcha. That was amazing. Her mother trained her for years as a child to know how to shoot and to fight and to be prepared, and then was taken away as a young girl, and she just kind of went into denial and thought her mother was crazy this whole time. So when that moment came towards the end of the movie where she had Michael in her sights and just surprised him with a shot to the face, brilliant. So I thought that was a really good payoff. Yeah, so most of the male characters in this film I didn't really like too much. The boyfriend, kind of like a real jerk, and Oscar was really confusing. I wasn't sure if he was like a gay character, and then he kind of started making his moves onto Allison. So yeah, I was pretty confused as to what his motives were, but I did really like his death scene. The use of the motion sensor lights in the neighbor's yard was really suspenseful and quite really well done. And to have him basically be impaled on the fence post by Michael Myers, and then Allison comes along and discovers him just hanging from the post was really quite effective. It was a pretty good kill. So yeah, a lot of the kills in this film are good. A lot are done off screen, but the ones that we do get on screen are pretty good. Michael Myers doesn't mind bashing heads in, but he also breaks out the knife on occasion as well. And yeah, the kills, I wouldn't say are too creative. Michael is pretty efficient with what he does. If he wants you dead, he will just make you dead. Not elaborate, just a brutal killer who will just take you down with whatever means unnecessary. And what I also did enjoy were the callbacks to the original Halloween. There was a scene when Allison was in a classroom and she looks out the window, basically the same seat, same classroom, same street as the first film, when Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode, looks out the window and Michael Myers is looking in. This time Allison's looking out the window and we have got Jamie Lee Curtis across the road looking at her. And also the scene where Michael Myers is battling Laurie Strode and throws her off a 2-story building. She lands on the grass. By the time he comes to peer over the edge to look at her, she's vanished. And we get that little stinger of music that accompanied Michael Myers' vanishing act in the very first Halloween. So this film is full of the callbacks, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. So what I did enjoy about this movie, yeah, it's flawed and it has got its issues. The pacing's pretty good, but I think it all comes down to what's on the cutting room floor. There's a lot missing. So there were some scenes in the trailer. Like there's one particular scene when we see Laurie Strode in a pose, knife up high, ready to get into a pretty big, ferocious fight with Michael Myers. That's not in the film. So after watching the trailer so many times, I was aware that there was going to be a point in the film where Michael Myers and Laurie Strode are going to be facing off knife to knife. And I was kind of in the back of my mind waiting for this scene to occur. And it wasn't until after the movie's finished and I've left and I thought about it, it wasn't in there. So there was some scenes that were excised. Having seen the trailer so many times also kind of hurt the film for me, because I knew the character beats that we're getting. There were certain scenes of characters in the film. Like there was one scene where we thought a character was getting threatened, but we know they still haven't had a scene which hasn't occurred yet. So the trailer, in hindsight, did reveal a bit much. But just a small gripe, I really did enjoy this film. And it is very much a female empowerment movie, much like the Me Too movement, which is going on in Hollywood at the moment. Ladies, actresses, and other female personalities and just normal people who are being assaulted by these asshole men years ago, and then coming back for their justice to confront their attacker years later. So I definitely did feel that all through this movie. It was very, very current. And yeah, Laurie Strode attacked by Michael Myers 40 years ago. She's held on to that and she wants to get her justice. So in this film, yeah, she's not just a victim. She's ready for him. She's scared to death. but she's prepared. And when she turns the tables on him in this film, she fights back is really, really cool. And she has a daughter and a granddaughter backing her up, and turning the whole scenario into a trap was really well played. So yeah, I'm really impressed with what this film did. Compared to the other Halloween movies, yeah, there's like 9 movies in the franchise now, the first one being the best, and part 2 for me is also one of the best ones in the series. I always watch Halloween and Halloween 2 back to back. Halloween 2 was one of the first movies I ever saw. Then I saw Halloween, so those two got a very special place in my heart. So 1 and 2 are, well, one is a classic, but 2 is a very close second. So if I was going to rank these movies, it would be Halloween, Halloween 2, H2O, and then this one, and then Halloween from Rob Zombie. But that could switch at any given moment. But most of these movies are very decent. It's definitely one of the better films in the franchise, and it's just so well done. Now, it is making a bucket load of money in the box office right now, so there is talk of a sequel. Jamie Lee Curtis has said that she would return if David Gordon Green comes back. He's working on a sequel idea, so yeah, that tells us that Michael Myers did not die at the end of this film. Yeah, there's always it's what's happened before. The films just get run into the ground. The originality goes, the story goes. They become very generic slasher fare, and it's Halloween, it's Michael Myers, it's above that. So if the story is treated with respect, what Danny McBride and David Gordon Green have delivered with this film is really smart storytelling. Yeah, there's problems with the script, like all the coincidence stuff, excising that relationship between Michael Myers and Laurie Strode. Why is Michael Myers after her? How does he know where she is? How does he know who Karen is? How does he know who Allison is? How does he know that they're related to Laurie Strode? Why would he care? So there is a lot of circumstances that you just have to take with a grain of salt in this film. It's all circumstantial. He just happens to be in these areas. He just happens to be killing Allison's friends. So yeah, you just kind of take that with a grain of salt and accept it. Once again, maybe it's on the cutting room floor. Michael Myers could have found photos. Who knows? He might have held a grudge against Laurie Strode all these years, the girl who got away. So hopefully, like I said, the home video release has got all that information in there. But I really still did enjoy this film quite a lot. So yeah, sequel, but if they get it right, if they do it to this quality, I'm totally on board. Also heard rumors at the moment that Robert Englund is in talks to possibly reprise his role of Freddy Krueger one more time. Friday the 13th right now is in legal mess with all the copyrights and all that kind of stuff. So I promise you, with the success of this film coming out the gate, there's going to be talk of Friday the 13th and A Nightmare on Elm Street coming back, especially if Robert Englund is on board to do Freddy Krueger one more time. It could be a bonanza for all us horror fans out there. So would I recommend that you go and watch Halloween at the movies on the big screen? Yes, go see it with an audience. There was a lot of build up. My crowd wasn't too rowdy, but they laughed at the right moments, and they were squirming and screaming at the right moments as well. So yeah, it was really fun. So getting Michael Myers back in form, scary once again, was a lot of fun. So thank you to Danny McBride and to David Gordon Green, to John Carpenter, Jeff Bradley, to Jamie Lee Curtis for coming back. It was a wonderful achievement. Yeah, like I said, it's got its problems. It's not a perfect movie, but it was entertaining as hell. I enjoyed it. The kills were brutal, and Michael Myers was just scary again, and the mask was really good too. So I cannot wait to get this back on Blu-ray, hopefully 4K when it comes out in a couple of months. Really looking forward to seeing it again. So anyway, guys, that's my review on Halloween 2018. Have you seen it? What do you think? Leave a comment down below, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.
He is a killer, but he will be killed tonight. Happy Halloween, Michael.